Happy New Year! Welcome back to my channel. This is my first video for 2024. I wanted to start this year off with a video that's a little more on the de-influencing / anti-haul vibe. So if you're new here, hi, my name is Kay and I love makeup. I love all kinds of makeup, but I've found that I've really honed into my own when it comes to my own personal makeup aesthetic. I know what I like almost immediately upon trying it, whether it's going to work for me or not. And I just don't have room in my life for things that don't give me immediate satisfaction. And especially coming from something as not necessary as makeup. So I want my makeup collection to be about quality over quantity. And I just don't have the patience for stuff just taking up room in my life, you know? So today I want to talk about makeup products that I am not going to be repurchasing or purchasing or just trying to try it in 2024. So let's just get into it. Also, just a friendly reminder, if some of these makeup products are your favorite, it's not a personal jab to you. It's just about my personal preferences and how I like to do my makeup. So just because you like a product doesn't mean that I'm saying that you're wrong. And I think it's just silly that I even have to do this disclaimer, you know? This is about me. Don't come at me in the comments like I personally insulted you. Don't do it. First makeup product that I will not be purchasing or trying a new formula of in 2024 are lip oils. Ugh, I know. 2022 and 2023 were definitely the year of every brand and their mom coming out with lip oils. And I tried a lot of them. And if you're not new here, you know one of my most loathed products that I disliked was the Merit lip oils. I think they're absolute trash. I think they're so gross feeling. The smell and the taste was off. It's not a good lip product. And if they work for you, that's great, but they did not work for me. And I tried a handful of different lip oils last year, and all of them but one had a similar effect on me where they weren't long lasting, they weren't nourishing, and if I'm putting them on because I want hydration to my lips and I want glossiness to my lips, and they just felt pointless because when they would wear away, my lips felt the same, if not worse, than when I had put them on before. So yeah, I've tried the Kosas, I've tried the Merit, I've tried the Dior, I've tried there was one from the drugstore that I immediately decluttered. I tried a K-Beauty one. All of them just did not serve the purpose of a hydrating kind of glossy formula. The only one that I deeply enjoyed was this one from Clarins. What is this called? It's the Lip Comfort Oil. This is in the shade Honey. I deeply enjoy this, but this is kind of what solidified me realizing what I want in a lip product is I want longevity and I want hydration and for my lips to feel better after it wears off. And this does provide that. But this also acts more like a gloss than it does a lip oil. It definitely has a lip oil consistency, but it does have this kind of texture of a lip gloss. And so I realized I just need to be buying hydrating balms and glosses versus just even being tempted by lip oils. So yeah, Clarins is the only one that is the exception, and I'm fine just owning this. Okay, staying on lips, this one's super controversial because I actually like this product that I'm about to talk about, but this is such a trending makeup thing right now, and that's the glossy clicky thing. You know, because the YSL candy glazes are so popular right now, and these Hourglass Phantom Glossy Balms are so popular right now. I love this formula. Don't get me wrong. I love this color. I think this product is an amazing product, and I'm sure the YSL ones are too, but I hate the clicky. I hate it. I hate that you can't put it back down. It's not even the fact that you can't put it back down. Let me rephrase. It's more the fact that when you use it, you see all this schmutz up here? It's the simple fact that when you use it, whether you roll too much up or not, when you use it, it gets all of this gunk. And I'm definitely not a person that wants my makeup to stay looking pristine. Like, it's a utilitarian product. Like, you're using it. Like, well-loved makeup means that it's good makeup. You know what I mean? But this is gross. Like, it's just gross. And I can't imagine all of them not doing that. And so, yeah, this Hourglass one is going to be the only one that I purchase and own. And I will use it up and love it, but not at the expense of like being grossed out every single time I use it. I've cleaned this so many times just because it's just so like gooey and just gross around the neck of it. Yeah, clicky gloss lip products, not for me. It's just not for me. And it's all because of the applicator. Powder highlighters. I am not going to buy another powder highlighter. And I don't say this because I think powder highlighters are bad, but I just think powder highlighters just aren't for me. They're not for my makeup aesthetic. I like a glossy cheek. I love cream and liquid highlighters. I love a balm formula. I just want my cheeks to look like they're the most like luscious dewy dumpling, like fantastic skincare looking. You know what I mean? Like, I don't get that with powder highlighters. And, you know, I think I only own 2 in my collection. This one's by NARS. I just pulled it out. And this is the Fort de France. This is a pretty popular highlighter for a long time, and every single time I use it, I just don't like the way my makeup looks. And I have face palettes where there's highlighters in them, and I don't like the way my makeup looks. And it's very rare for me to use a powder highlighter and be satisfied with the effect. And like I said before, there's nothing wrong with this. Like, it's a beautiful highlighter. But when I use a powder highlighter, I like to use it on my eyes. Like, I like to use it as an eyeshadow. And there have been a couple that had come out in 2023 that I was sort of tempted by, but then when I took a step back and I thought about it, like, I knew it would just be the same thing. Like, I would use it just as much as I use this, which is never. And this is a good product, but it just doesn't align with my makeup preferences anymore. So in 2024, I will not be trying or buying any powder highlighters. Staying on cheeks, the next product is a really good example of just what I don't want in a blush. And that is a baked glowy blush. I will not be buying a single baked glowy blush in 2024. A really good example of this formula is the Bare Minerals bronzers. And it has nothing to do with the color or even like the consistency of it or like really anything else. Like, I don't deem this like a bad blush, but I never use it. I have this in the shade Kiss of Rose. And the reason I don't use it is that I find the consistency, like, it's so pigmented. Like, the base in this is just so unforgiving in a way. Let me swatch it here. But as you see, this is like an eyeshadow. Like, every single time I've used this in a multitude of different ways on a multitude of different bases. I've tried so many different ways to put this on my cheeks, but I always end up looking like kind of glittery and blotchy when I wear formulas like this. And it just is, I just don't want this in a blush anymore. What I want in a powder, especially a powder blush, like, what I want in a powder blush is it to be matte and velvety, but when it's on the cheeks to add some type of luminescence. Like, look at my finger even after I swatched it. Like, it has like such like a metallic look to it. It's just not my cup of tea anymore, and I just don't find it very flattering on the skin, especially if you have like texture or anything like that. Like, it's just so like not sophisticated looking. I think a really good example of what I want a powder blush to be are the Dior Rosy Glow blushes. This is in the shade Cherry. I picked this up a little bit ago, and it's such a beautiful, beautiful blush. This one, because it is a bit more pigmented than the other ones, it does swatch pretty okay, but this formula is pretty hard pressed. And so to see it on the cheeks is a whole different experience. But you can see even with the swatch here, it's matte, but it has like an elegant, very sophisticated sheen. Like, it doesn't pick up on texture. It's not glittery. It's much more like velvety and just more refined. And it doesn't have the texture of an eyeshadow. Like every time I use the bronzer, I just feel like I'm using an eyeshadow on my cheeks and it just doesn't look nice. So yeah, like this is a prime example of what I want a powder blush to be. Another good example of a wonderful matte but luminescent kind of glowy blush is the Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk Glow Blushes. That formula is very elegant, very beautiful. I think the Tom Ford Shade and Illuminate blushes are the same way. The Laura Mercier blush in the shade Fresco is a good example as well. Like there are very beautiful matte blushes with kind of a sheeny, oh my god, my nose is running. There are so many like beautiful matte blushes that have that elegant sheen that runs through them without it looking like eyeshadow. And I know that somebody is going to comment like, you should try the RMS blushes. And I've wanted to. I've been so tempted by those blushes ever since they came out. But then when I think about it, I'm just like, that every time I see swatches, I'm like, those just look like the bronzers. And they might be a little more like refined and just like a better formula in general. But I feel like it's just like a different branch of the same tree that I just don't like, you know? So this kind of powder blush is the one for me. And no more baked glowy blushes for 2024. I feel like I could even say that for cream blushes as well, because I do find that I do like a dewy cheek, but I like that dewiness to come from like me. Like I want to be adding a cream liquid or balm highlighter either into my cream blush or underneath my cream blush to have a lit within type of look. Most glowy, like really sticky, dewy, tacky cream blushes I find don't interact well with other creamy, dewy products, and they tend to lift. So even with my cream blushes, I do prefer like a matte cream formula so I can add my desired effect and my desired amount of glow. Products that I am not going to be purchasing or trying in 2024 are palettes. So the first part is face palettes. I have this face palette by Charlotte Tilbury in was it Nude? Yeah, it's Nudegasm. And as you see, like it comes with, I mean, it's a very stunning palette. Like it's a very nice palette. I don't reach for it. Like I never reach for it. I owned a few different face palettes and it always comes with the same thing. Like when I first get it, it's like the novelty of it. I'll be using it all the time, but then slowly I just forget about it and I don't use it at all. And as you see, like this comes with like two kind of weird shades of like bronzing contour-esque, and like these two shades aren't gonna be flattering on everybody. And that's the like problem with a lot of face palettes, is that they're not very universal. And like I know Hourglass has kind of had the comeback with their like holiday face palettes, and I like to hear people talk about them, but not once, I've never been tempted to buy one ever. You know, and it also comes with like a powder highlighter, which I already said, like I don't ever use. I only use this on my eyes when I use this palette. And this blush is really nice, but it's also like that kind of glowy baked, you know, that glowy baked type of blush that I'm just really not into anymore. Like it's beautiful, but I honestly like to use this palette more as like an eyeshadow quad more so than a face palette. So yeah, no more face palettes for me, like ever. Like I know myself and I know that I'm not going to use them. The second part of my palette, my anti-palette kind of thing, is eyeshadow palettes. So I own several eyeshadow palettes, but none of them exceed more than 5 pans of shadow, because I don't deem that you need more than 4 or 5 shades in an eyeshadow palette. If it's a good quality eyeshadow palette, a good thought out color story, like you only need a couple of shades. That's not to say I'm never not like tempted by eyeshadow palettes. Like some of them are really, really pretty. Like everything that Natasha Denona came out with in 2023 was absolutely stunning. The Makeup by Mario palette was like this huge sensation. The Danessa Myricks, I think it's called the Groundwork palette, all the stuff by Hindash, like those are all like really exceptional and beautiful palettes, but like I can't deem them worth it as like a makeup user that's getting ready in her bedroom, and I'm no longer a working makeup artist, so like why would I have all of these palettes? Like it just seems like a waste of space and a waste of money. If I was still a working makeup artist, I would just have probably like the Danessa Myricks is a good example of like what I would have, and then I would probably have a couple of Hindash palettes because I do like the fact that they're utilitarian, they're like creative, like there's a lot of creative thought behind them because they're designed to look flattering on the eyes and on the face. And so they were formulated in a way where they're going to be flattering on both areas, you know? And then I would just use single eyeshadows for like the glittery effects. But in my own personal use, I don't see myself needing that type of option. You know what I mean? Like I could just have a handful of quads and quints and my 2 little drawers of single eyeshadows for different types of colors and different types of effects. And just, you know, honestly, I just use my bronzer half the time in my crease. Like like you'll never see me with a one and done matte eyeshadow, like ever, like along with palettes. Like it just doesn't make sense for me to have it, you know? But like a quint that I really enjoy is my Dior Soft Cashmere, and a quad I really enjoy is my Tom Ford, what is this called? Tiger Eye. Like it's a warm and a cool palette. There's one with 5 shades, one with 4 shades, and like when it comes to palettes, that's all I really need. I just get decision fatigue just looking at a 28 pan palette or a 16 pan palette. Like when I think about it, even though I'm like struck by the Natasha Denona releases, like when I think about it, I'm like, oh, I would use those 4 shades and not touch anything else. Maybe sometimes for like, you know, like a date night or like a special occasion or like a party or something, but like I probably would just use a neutral and then a wet looking topper, which I mean, I already have that. So why would I buy that palette? So I'm going to continue to not buy large palettes in 2024 and just stick to my little ones. Okay, so that is it. That is all the makeup that I am not going to be purchasing in 2024. Let me know down in the comments stuff that you're just over and that you're just not going to pick up because you just don't feel like you're going to be participating in and or just like so over. I would love to know things that you are anti-hauling / de-influencing in your life, and just making sure that your makeup collection is stuff that you're actually going to use. Like I said before, I always promote quality over quantity, and yeah, so I'm excited for 2024 and all of the makeup and makeup looks that I'm going to be creating, and just interacting with all of you and watching my channel grow at the like slow, steady pace that it has been for the past year. Okay, and that is it, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!